Kind of Man?
I don't know. We can ask the people.
Hey, chat. Who sings Simple Kind of Man? Just a simple.
Somebody's mad that you don't know that
man.
now. Man, I do have.
It's the same. Sweet Home Alabama. Who does that?
Leonard Skinner.
Leonard Skinner. There you go. And then he was comparing them to Bon Jovi, and he was saying they were the same thing. It's embarrassing.
It's not good. He's looking it up now. He's going to compare the lyrics side by side.
Well, I could.
They're totally different lyrics.
Right here.
So, this is fun. Well, for the people in the chat who are my age. So I met Alpha partially because I bought a 12-string guitar. Okay.
Like the initial meet.
Like our initial meet. I bought a 12-string. A guy saw me playing it, said, "Hey, join our worship band." We met that night. Okay.
That's crazy.
I basically bought that guitar to learn to play Wanted Dead or Alive.
Yes! Yes! I don't feel so dumb. That's funny. I was feeling a little, my self-esteem was going down there for a second.
Yeah, so there you go. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the origin story.
I don't know why those like live in the same, like we have compartments.
Well, probably
of our brain.
for your entire life, they've both been classic rock.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So there you go.
Well,
welcome to the Monday morning worship hangover.
Yeah, here we are.
Dude, I'm having
spend $1 million a day for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of having a Monday. I have like my throat started, like I get this spot in the very back, like right of my throat.
Yeah.
It just gets kind of like dry and hurty. And then today just have a little bit of a, not as high a voice as I normally do, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So now it feels like I'm doing it on purpose.
The man voice happening today.
Yeah, I finally have a man voice. So yeah, it's just feeling a little bit like a Monday, and
yeah. I wake up in the morning like I'm doing an early 2000s Chevy Silverado commercial. Good morning.
Yeah.
Buy my truck.
The only one to hear it is Alpha, though.
Huh?
The only one to hear it is Alpha.
Yeah,
or
my kids.
Or your kids. Not looking for a track.
How are you doing today?
We're doing potty training today. I say we're not. Kaylin is doing potty training today because I'm at work today.
Yeah.
But
you're just having accidents.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. She's given up on me.
Yeah.
But my mom claims, and I believe her, I think. My mom claims that she potty trained me in a day.
Sure.
Because she had a book
Sure.
that's called Potty Training in a Day.
Sure.
Whoa.
And the home movies show that I was potty trained in a day.
Yeah.
And I think I believe her.
Yeah.
But anyway, she gave Kaylin that book, and so Kaylin is doing the potty training in a day thing. So by the time I get home today, he should be potty trained.
I'm going to go ahead and just let you know, potty training boys in general is not an easy endeavor.
Tell her.
Potty training boys in general is not an easy endeavor.
It's actually, I'm going to be honest with you. So I can see why it's like potty training in a day, because there's all this lead up to it.
Yeah.
That's like prepping him with the ideas of potty training and stuff. So he's been like potty training for the last 3 months.
Right.
Dude, he gets it. Like I think it's going to be super easy for him.
Good. That's great.
I hope so.
I've been wondering if you've been joking this whole time or if you've been...
No, it's legit.
But yeah.
That's like the book claims it's in a day, but I haven't
But
read
if
the
there's
book.
3
Kaylin
months
did.
of work up to it.
I don't know because I didn't read the book. But I know that he has been asking about
Can
his
you read
potty.
the book in a day?
No, no shot. I'm not going to read it.
Work for
I mean, you
3
probably
months,
could, but I
and
won't.
then in one day it happens.
Right. That's like how I imagine it, but Kaylin has read it. She could, well, she's not going to be in the comments because she's potty training today, so it's a whole thing.
It's the myth of overnight success.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right?
Hey, man, if it works, then it feels
No,
good.
that's awesome. Hey, God bless you if it works.
But
So
we'll
my
see.
that would have been a great segue, but we're not ready for that yet. Oh, man.
There you go. So my mom said I also potty trained really quickly, and like to the point that I would just carry my potty chair with me everywhere we went.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is actually like parent hack. If you're a new parent, dude, buy a potty chair, even when the kid is, well, maybe not when they're super young because they're in diapers, but leave that thing in the car. And then when your kid is like, just has to really go, you don't even have to stop at the gas station. Like we've had a lot of times where one kid's asleep and we're like, we are not stopping this car for anything.
Or just have all boys and open that minivan door and let her fly, buddy.
I hope you've done that.
Yeah, right down the highway.
But we've done that a few times, and man, that's saved us a little bit.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Rachel says potty training quickly is not in my vocabulary for boys.
Yeah.
And man, but Riley is really close.
Yeah.
But she like made it there, and we've done like a thing where you just keep the pull-up dry for a certain number of days, and then you get a prize.
Yeah. So I guess here's what I'm saying.
She backslid though.
I'm saying, man, if it works, that's amazing. But man, Kaylin, if it doesn't work, don't have any mom guilt over that. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So,
yeah,
like it's not that you did anything wrong. It's just that boys are stubborn and slow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like something that we had heard once was that nobody goes to college like not being potty trained.
Very few.
So
yeah.
It'll happen eventually. It's just she is potty trained. You make it sound like she's not. Just overnights. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
That is.
So
doing good, Riley. Keep it up. I believe in you.
She might be watching right now. So.
I know. That's why I said it. So,
well, that's great. Yeah, that hopefully that changes a little, like a lot of things when it's, and that's the goal is like underwear in the day. Is that the okay?
That's a big win.
That's man, it's great.
Yeah. He's got his big boy underwear on. I think right now.
Oh man,
that's a big win.
Finish breakfast and then start.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's awesome. You got this, Jude.
Yeah, I'll make sure to show him this later.
Yeah,
they're not. It's like it's such a focused thing.
Yeah,
it's a whole intense deal. Like the day of it.
Yeah,
and so I think that's why they bill it like that. But,
so how come she's doing it on a Monday instead of you helping her on a Saturday?
Because this was the best day for the next 3 weeks for her to give 24 hours of continuous attention.
Gently nudges Aaron under the bus.
Hey man, we talked about it. This is the day.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So I don't miss those days. I told Alpha a couple years ago, I'm like, I think I've changed my last diaper, like ever. That's a good spot to be in.
Yeah.
She says I'll have grandkids some days, and I believe her. I will, but they'll have like a mom and a dad and a grandma. Like there's a lot of people in line before me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm ready for that too. That's great.
That'll be good.
So what were we going to talk about?
What were we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about maybe Facebook.
Oh, so here's a question. Okay,
Facebook.
I had this weird thing this morning. Okay, so I went to Ezra had an award assembly at like 7:50 this morning.
Oh wow.
And so I went there. But here was the thing that I was like, that's weird, right? The like vice principal or assistant, I don't know what they're called, gets up and she's like, she goes over the rules of the assembly. And I was like, okay, I get that. And she's like, and remember, we have a secret person watching you to see how well you do in the class that has the best behavior will get a prize. And I was like, that's weird, right? Like,
I thought it was Santa.
School
Santa
Big Brother.
No, it's an elf on the shelf.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was gonna be like
Forever
Santa's watching.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get a gift if you don't behave in this assembly.
He's making a list.
I'm
checking it twice.
I'm sure the teachers appreciate that.
Yeah.
But as a dad, I'm like, this is really weird.
Yeah.
Parents should, or adults shouldn't lie to kids.
Well, and they probably do have a secret person.
there probably is a secret
there
person.
probably is a teacher
It's
who's
like the person who's like, it's your job to watch today.
But why not just say like, Mr. Miller's going to pick the best behaved class?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of weird. That's a weird deal.
So yeah, it was really weird.
Wow.
I don't know. Struck me as like,
I don't think I'm about.
We could
that.
start
I
doing
don't
that
think I
in
like
services.
this. We could. I like
Remember,
that.
I'll
We
say,
have
welcome
a
to
secret
Capital West.
person
There's a
watching you,
secret.
and the one who stays awake gets a prize.
That's right. Whoever worships the hardest.
The one who raised their hands the highest.
Right. They're
Man,
watching.
We're back on this train. There was a while where we were like coming up with ideas for how to keep people like awake and excited in service, other than just
Being good,
being and exciting and
doing our job.
And so
other than that,
we threw out things like caffeine in the air,
pumping
all in
caffeine
jest,
into-
of course.
Yeah.
caffeine in the air.
maybe.
Yeah.
And then
Shocking
electricity.
seats.
Yeah, shocking seats. That was a good one.
I don't
So-
think I was here for this conversation. I don't remember
I'm pretty
that.
sure it was on the Worship Hangover.
I
The
don't even
three
know
of
if
us.
Joey's hired yet.
He
I
wasn't.
don't know. Maybe I was
Definitely
here.
us.
But
I mean,
I
it was
don't
my
know.
best day.
Yeah, that's content. There you go.
So now we have our secret person. So if we combine all three of those things,
I like that.
then we'll really finally have the perfect church.
Yeah, and in church you could literally say he sees you when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You literally. You could mean it.
That's right.
You know, the seat shocking thing was like to get an amen out of somebody when you had like an impactful point.
I don't
And then we
remember this
zap
at
them
all.
and they're asleep and they go, hey! And, you know, like they.
Yeah.
you know,
I like that. I like
get
that.
some calm response.
So this is going to be so far out there and rabbit hole, but have
Yeah.
you seen the video of the professor singing like it was like 90s or 2000s emo songs to kids. Like,
Yes.
And
yeah,
it's good.
Wow.
So
his students in class will fall asleep and they'll bust into some 2000s emo, like really leaning into the Tom
Love it.
DeLonge voice.
Oh,
and just
Love
like,
it.
yeah.
Just like climbing up on the chair.
Tonight will be the night
Yeah.
that I will fall for you.
That's hilarious.
And multiple songs.
It's
It's
so good.
man.
That's
So that could be our number 4.
Yeah.
That would be the thing
Yeah,
that
that's
really
really
seals
good.
the deal.
We
Yeah.
get a
So-
volunteer to do that.
Yeah, I don't
You're
know,
right.
man.
That'd be good. But I don't want to do it. But
I
it'd
want
be really funny to
I would love
watch.
to brainstorm
Yeah.
that volunteer. That would be
Not live on the internet.
not live on the internet.
Man,
You're
that'd
right.
be really funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that. But yeah, I heard that. I was like, that's just wild.
That's a strange thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Big Brother. Yeah, that's not. I'm not.
That was it. That's what it felt like. And remember, Big Brother's watching.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure that it was well intentioned.
Sure.
I'm sure. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like most people don't do things just out of pure bad intention, even if they're bad things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but okay. So tell us about your Facebook find. You found like the friends.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
That's what it was.
Oh, yeah. So this is really interesting. So I noticed the other day I was on Facebook if Facebook's ads now, like that's what it is. In whatever, and we do ads too. Like that's the thing. Facebook is ads now. But I noticed on the bottom of my Facebook feed, there is. You guys are going to get a glimpse into my Facebook world for a second. There's a button. So you have your home button, but then next.
Bye-bye.
Bye phone. And then next to your home button, there's another button that you can't see called Friends.
Oh.
Yeah, it's called Friends. And if you click the Friends button, you get to see your friends' Facebook updates.
What? Really?
Crazy.
Just as God intended.
Almost like it was created to be that
Man.
without the ads.
I have a really vague memory of like 2005.
So
Yeah, real ones remember.
where
Yeah.
like
you could see your photos.
I think
of
it
your
was
friends.
just that.
Yeah.
By itself. That
when
was
we
all it was.
left
That was the whole
MySpace
thing.
Yeah.
and came to Facebook,
Great
Yeah.
migration.
right? And it was like, oh, this is cool. It's Facebook because it's pictures
Yeah.
of my friends.
Yep.
Right?
All right here where I can find it.
Yeah.
Easily.
Right there. Easily
Find it.
Yeah. And then it became not that.
Yeah.
It tried to become news.
Have you thought about that?
And
in a while?
then
it's a long way. From
And then it became Google, but only ads that you don't know that you're interested in.
yeah.
Yeah.
They know you're interested in it.
Right. It's really weird.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad they finally added the features back that the whole thing was based on,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is connecting with your friends.
They're going back to their roots. I mean, you got to find it, but
Yeah. Not the default tab that opens.
no, not
Yeah.
the
It is
one.
the second tab. But
Yeah, and it's
back.
never like at the bottom you get all these notifications on different things like video, marketplace, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the friends one never has a notification on it.
It's never going to pull your interest.
But
huh?
videos and marketplace sure do.
Oh man.
Where's the money at? Where's the money at?
That's
You gotta
right.
you gotta get rid of those little numbers there.
I remember when I was still on. I have a Facebook and I get on it occasionally.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was on Facebook regularly, there was a feature where you could like filter your homepage and you could mark people as like best friends. Or,
Yeah.
Like you could categorize
Yeah, that was great.
people. And I was like, that's really cool. Except I have too many friends to go through and
No.
mark every person where I want them. So I was like, okay, let me grab like my family and like the people that I really want to pay attention to. And then I don't know, that feature didn't really work well either.
Well,
It
Yeah.
wasn't default either. It was like you go to your homepage and then you go to your filters and you filter to that group, and it was like
What a
still 3
hassle.
or 4 steps removed
What
from
a hassle.
actually opening up the app and seeing what you want to see.
I just use the button to unfollow people.
yeah, that's I didn't use it liberally enough
That's
until
just
pretty recently.
what I
but-
do.
So I've switched to using Facebook on the browser.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
created a homepage link to the browser.
Weird.
And-
Okay.
Yeah, and so so mine doesn't have the friends tab.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're on the computer, there's no friends
Yeah.
tabs.
So
Yeah, that's the only place I use it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. So this is kind of notable, but Rachel said, "Do you remember when Instagram had an end? It would say
Yeah.
you've seen everything."
Yes.
Yeah, not
yes.
anymore.
In the feed.
Not anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just a weird thought after like
And-
infinite scrolling, doom scrolling, like all those words are from just creating an endless.
And probably 18 months ago, like I was on Instagram, like started being on Instagram more than Facebook because at that point it was still more of my friends' stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's as bad as Facebook is.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's
same
not
owner.
any better.
Yeah. So what's that gonna do? Can we just like live in the future? Like what's that gonna do to society? Like can we I don't even know if we have the right answer to that, but like, is that okay to do right here on?
What's that going to do to society?
What's it going to do to society of just having an app that like used to be about friends, but now is just all about like the agenda, whether it's money or is that okay to do right here? I think it is.
I think you'll have both the pendulum swing into that, like people leaning into it, because it's not just one app, it's every app moving in that direction. Not every app, but a lot of major apps move in that direction to keep you on their app as long as they can. Even things like Facebook, Instagram don't want you to link outside of the app if you make a post, because that takes away
takes you out
revenue.
of their app.
And so, and more scrolling on their app where they can keep you hooked. So I think you'll find more apps leaning into finding ways, even if they don't naturally lend themselves to infinite scrolling, find ways to do that. But then you also have other apps that rise up in response to that. That's like, no, we're only, like when Be Real popped up.
That
was
like,
a big no, pull. This is just you and your friends, one picture a day. Like there's nothing to infinitely scroll because you only have so many people that you're connected with, and you only get one.
I really wish that would have picked up like more popularity.
I think that kind of thing will keep popping up over the next few years as more companies lean into the ad focused whatever, and some like Facebook may try to pull back a little bit and
the other
backpedal, make ways for people to.
The other side of it that I'm seeing is like so because Facebook tried to become to the news, that didn't work. Like that kind of exploded on them. So now they're trying to become entertainment. Like that's the goal. That's what Reels are. It's entertainment. And the algorithm does its best to keep you entertained. What's happened with that like white hat game, like they're trying to use that white hat gamification, do this, do this, do this, you're going to like this, you're going to like this, you're going to like this. And somehow that's turned black hat through all of the ads that are involved with it.
What do you mean by white hat and black hat?
So gamification is like the study of how games work and keep people playing.
Right.
So white hat is a reward system. Black hat is a punishment system.
Oh, okay.
And so white hat, so it was white hat. Like you're gonna like this reel, you're gonna like this reel, you're gonna like this reel. But now I'm noticing, like whenever I go through reels, I'll get to a reel and it'll play for like 6 seconds and an ad will pop up, and they're black hatting all of my reels now.
So they're playing both though.
Right?
They're saying you're gonna really like this, but like here, just you're gonna hate this for just a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're doing that. So what I've noticed within the last year or so is content providers that maybe you genuinely do like, they are beginning to, even though they're still posting on the algorithms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Shorts, whatever, right? They're still posting. Their end game is to get you off of that platform and onto their own websites or onto their own stuff. So that's happening.
Which those companies hate and want to fight because it is counter to what they're trying to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Weird. And so it's like this weird battle that happens. And I think we're in that battle right now. Like our goal right now, like we'll throw a reel out there, but the goal of the reel isn't to get you to keep scrolling. The goal of the reel is to get you to engage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it has to transition away from engaging on our, like, who cares about our Facebook page anymore? We need you to engage on our website. That's what the goal has to become.
Yeah. There's got to be a point at which anything like Facebook has to do too much and kill the thing. And I think for a lot of people it has already.
Yeah.
But they're kind of playing this, like, riding the line of like too much and not enough to stay afloat. Not that they're struggling by any means, but like what, I just wonder what the thing is that would be like, oh, that was too much. Like now it's just not even enjoyable anymore.
Well, I think
I've already reached that in a lot of ways.
I think that we saw the biggest, this is my anecdotal evidence. I think we see the biggest decline in social media activity in the biggest seasons of political activity. I think that's when the most people bail.
When the politics just take over and they have the money.
That's why I think Facebook, since 2020, has tried to make the shift from a news media outlet to an entertainment outlet, is because they realized in 2020, right, you had all this news. You had COVID, you had an election, you had all this huge news that was happening. And people were bailing off of it left and right. Like they were stuck at home and they were like, I don't want this thing in my life anymore.
Yeah.
And Facebook realized, like, wait a second, people don't actually want the news.
Yeah.
Like they don't actually want that.
Yeah.
And so that's when the shift happened to entertainment. If you could track it to there, I would almost guarantee it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's super strange. I think this conversation is super like interesting because it does, like, I don't think anyone, we could just go Amish or like go like no technology, and people do, but it's almost something that you can't ignore that it's around because it's so big.
Sure.
And so it's almost something that you have to deal with on some level, no matter who you are, whether you like deny that it exists or just fully immerse. But yeah,
no, it's an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting. We could have this conversation again in a couple of weeks because we're going to talk about friends, like actual friendships, in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And so we can have that conversation again. So if you guys who are watching, if you want to, maybe gather some thoughts, we can have that conversation then.
Yeah.
In a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the thing. For now, though, we probably ought to shift into yesterday.
Which kind of is
Yeah.
Like successes and everything ties so close to Facebook.
Yeah.
For sure it does.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a field where you feel like you have to wear the hat of content creator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And honestly, you could be a plumber now and feel like you have to wear the hat of content creator.
Sure.
You can probably make a lot of money doing that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, think about special. Just for what it's worth, if you do a specialty trade of any kind, like if you put videos out there for people to find and monetize those videos that are helpful, like the people who are going to look for those videos are the people who weren't going to hire you anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe there might be some people who do stumble onto them and they go, that's way too hard, but man, this guy's really helpful and he's in my area. And so
you also you really, no matter what you do, you end up dividing the elitists of everybody doing it right to people who are like, yeah, it's good enough.
Yeah.
And those people will fight each other in your comments.
Exactly. And that helps you.
Yeah, it helps you, which is just a weird thing. So sometimes I don't comment. I ride that struggle so hard if I'm watching a YouTube video and I'm like, let me see what's in the comments.
Yeah.
But you can be a content creator that way only for the sake of that.
Yeah.
And I saw one the other day, which I don't do drywall, let's be honest. But but I have done a little bit, and I always see the California patch. And so I just had to ask an honest question, like, is that actually durable?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look like it would be, but is it? And I didn't get a response, but
it's an interesting thing now that you mentioned that. It's a phenomena I noticed a few months ago, maybe even a year ago, that I will intuitively, when I open a video or a reel or whatever, if I have a question, I will immediately go to the comments, not just to see if someone asked and answered my question, but to see if other people are like, yeah, this guy's right. He knows what he's talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll base my opinion of that person's video on how the comments responded to him. Before I've even really given it a fair shake, I'll get 5 seconds in and I'll be like, I'm not sure about this guy. And so I'll go to the comments and everyone's like, nope, scam. And I'm like, yep, scam. And I move on.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that means. It's just weird.
It's almost cancel culture, but not in.
Yeah, it's
not canceling. It's just they.
And it's not always in the negative. Sometimes it's in dude, thank you so much for putting this out. I love what you recommended here. And I'm like, oh, well, now I got to watch to the end and see what he recommended.
Yeah, this is legit now. Yeah.
It's like the weird, I don't even know these random
it's herd
people
mentality.
Online,
but
I fall right in. And I don't know if you guys do that too, but the comments are such a easy place to be like, what should my opinion of this be?
For me, I'm more likely to watch the video and be like, oh, I can't wait to see the comments on this.
Oh, sure. Okay. And that happens too. Absolutely.
So the thing that happens to me is the opposite of that. I'll go, oh, dude, someone's going to roast him on this. And I'll state my guess or whatever. And then I go to the comments and nothing about that sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's always weird to me because sometimes I'm like, oh, I think I know what the popular opinion is on this. Mm-hmm. And then I go and it's like, they're not even talking about that.
Unless it's just being moderated.
Could sure. Be. Yeah. Sure. And so sometimes I'm surprised. I'll be like, oh, I know what's going to happen. And then I don't see it at all. And I have to scroll a while and then maybe there's one comment or something.
Yeah.
But, or there's some blatant thing that I think is obvious and then no one is talking about that. And I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
And I think there are bots. I know there are bots, but I think there are bots now that will give the same type of comment. And so you'll look through and you'll see 4 comments about a specific phrase is included.
Yeah.
And that's kind of strange to me too. But yeah, it kind of makes someone one side instead of having this equal thing. That's a really interesting. It's probably a psychological.
It is. It's
study
like the social media echo chamber, except without me actually participating in it or even meaning to.
Right.
I'm watching it and then I'm latching onto the thoughts of the echo chamber or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And I haven't even watched and engaged with the piece of media yet. I'm just like, from first blush plus comments, I'm like, yep, okay. I've got my. I know what this is. It's just a weird thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that can, a person, you can do anything and try to be successful in that, even if you're doing a trade that maybe wouldn't be set up for that.
Yeah. Well, and I think success is a thing. Like, and here's the thing: some people want to be successful to be remembered, and some people just want to be seen as successful, right? And some people want to be successful for what that buys them. Like, there's all kinds of motivators, for the desire or for success. Like, that's a thing. Whether it's intrinsic or extrinsic, like there's all kinds of reasons why a person can really push towards that thing. I don't know what if you guys have ever wrestled with that, or if you don't wrestle with that. I think that obviously not everybody does, but certain people do.
I just want to be taken seriously.
Yeah,
I think that's it for me. So if I and this is maybe like opening like behind my curtain, a little bit, but like if someone is talking the language, like speaking the language of a thing, so like audio, like you guys know that if I talk about audio stuff, sometimes I try to use the words that are applicable to that thing, but it ends up sometimes isolating other people, but if I'm talking about someone who really knows it, I end up speaking that language with them, but I don't want them, I want to use that language because I don't want them to think that I don't know what I'm talking about,
right?
So when I call for like, this is simpler. When you call for internet help, they always tell you to restart your router, and I'm like, well, I've restarted it 4 times already. And so instead of saying like being like, okay, instead of saying I've already done it, I go ahead and I just say okay, like I'll restart it. But I hate that. Like if only they knew that I knew about this stuff.
So in that situation, I'll tell them like, okay, here's what I've done to troubleshoot. I've done this, this, and this. What's next? And like that's kind of where I'll start that conversation. I get that. The desire to be like to for people to know your knowledge in an area.
I think that's what it is. More than I don't want recognition. I just want when I'm having a conversation with someone that we don't have to like dance around this. Well, do you know about? Do you know about? Just like and I don't know. There's no solution to that, but I like the knowledge of it. I like knowing. And if somebody says something that I'm like, that doesn't sound true, then I'll go look it up just so that I'm not forwarding on a falsehood. And so sometimes I'm like, oh, I didn't know that, and then I learned something new. So there's never a negative to looking it up, but I think that's more than like, I don't want to be famous. I don't really like. I don't want to have to block people and hide at the grocery store. Or not be able to go to the grocery store. And so I like that, part of anonymity, but I think it's more just like someone not considering you like, oh, you don't know anything because you're whatever, because you're 20 or because you are inexperienced or something. So I don't know. That's a complex situation for every single person.
It is.
And I know that is for me too. So
yeah, it is.
What about you guys? Do you guys fall into a specific type of success?
So for me, success has always been, it's never really been about like, for me, it's not about money, and it's not about being remembered. Like I think I'm realistic enough to know that I'm never going to be remembered. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
or that it's so short.
Yeah. Like there's one generation of people after I die that'll remember me. You know what I mean? And that is what it is. And it for me, success is, I've always wanted to, like the driving motivator behind looking successful is to appear to be impressive. That's the driving motivator. Like that's the thing that exists there, and it's gross, right? But it is that like, it's that people, the validation that you receive whenever people go, wow, that, and so that's why I think like excellence is a big deal of mine and growth is a big deal of mine. And there's some benefits I think that come alongside with that. When you're willing to say, okay, why, like, am I when I start out a sermon, am I trying to make people impressed by me?
Yeah.
Or impressed by the thing, right?
Yeah.
Am I trying to give people this impression of like look at what God can do and things like that? That for me is the thing. That's the wrestle, right?
I wonder if the turn of that is look how impressive God is.
Exactly.
Like, because for me, like, maybe that's like, man, not look how much God knows, but like God was the creator of everything.
Yeah.
And I think I've done this at times, but one thing that just is so simple, but the fact that music works because of the way that it is. Like, there's nothing that makes music work except for sound existing. Yeah. And sound only exists because air exists, Yeah. And like those things, like God knew what he was doing. And I think maybe that's my turn, maybe, is that God is an expert on everything. And so I don't know if that's the right way to frame those things, but maybe we take our successes and we turn them into like God's success in that category. Yeah. So yeah.
So it's that, and it's also the being, like, the other side of it is being proud of what I do. Like, I want to be proud of what I do, but to be proud of what I do, there has to be, in my head, there has to be some level of growth or achievement there, or otherwise I'm not, like, why would I be proud to just do normal stuff? Yeah. Like, that's normal stuff.
There's so much behind the scenes at church that isn't that. And so you definitely have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
At sometimes.
So I'm always gauging, like, right, a sermon, is this just like normal work? Like, that's a thought that I have sometimes. Like, is it good enough, or is it like good? Because those are different things to me.
Man, there's a line we sang Graves into Gardens this week, and I feel like we're doing this line right now, but it's like, the line is, I'm not afraid to show you my weakness. Every time I sing that, I'm like, am I? Yeah. Like, am I like truly open in that way? Because we want to be, but then wanting to be and aspiring and actual is sometimes different. Yeah. But I think, like, opening up this box of, like, man, what's the success thing for us is, like, opens that door of, I'm not afraid to show you my weakness. Yeah. Like, and then the next line is, my failures and flaws, you've seen them all and you still call me friend. Yeah. And I think that's a huge deal with the success thing, that no matter, like, we call those things as they are, and then he still calls us his friend, and even his, beloved. And so I think that's crazy. But
so the first time that I realized this is a problem in my life was when I was doing student ministry, and I went to a youth ministry conference, and I can't remember who it was on the stage, but I still remember the line of, like, is it more important to you whenever you're talking to your students that they think you're cool, or that they want a relationship with Jesus? Because he said, I see way too many youth ministers who want kids to think that they're still cool. And that was like, like, that's a thing, and then down, like, through the years, I heard another person say it this way, like, people will either remember your wit or they will remember God's word, but they won't remember both.
Gosh, that hurts every person who hears that.
Yeah. And, like, things like that. So that's a thing.
I think I still haven't nailed down what my success is tied to. We've been talking about it a lot in my huddle, because both of the guys in my huddle have that's been one of the questions they return to a lot in the character questions, is what is my measure of success? And so we've talked about that for like 2 months straight now. I feel like, which is good, because every week it's some new facet of the diamond shines through, and it's a cool, like, seeing that happen. But for me, I know a lot of it's tied to my people pleasing tendencies. And so I know a lot of it's about, like, how people perceive me. And I very recently, just within the last couple of weeks, have sort of started to nail it down to being I don't know if this is success, but one of the things that I've pushed through is being able to not have an excuse, to be able to justify my decision making. So like, I won't make a decision unless I have a solid explanation if someone has a question for it. So like, if we have a decision that we have to make as a team, or if I have to make as an individual or whatever, if someone's going to say, why did you do that? And I don't already have an answer ready, then I'm not going to make the decision. And I'm going to let someone else make it. And then I'll say, well, we made this decision, because it puts the blame off of me. And so I don't know that that's a measure of success for me, but I think that is tied to whatever my success is defined by. Because there's something in me that is that is scared to take responsibility for a potential failure, which is probably true for everyone, but it's just so deep that like I've never really recognized it was there, and it's shown up in all these other ways. Like I like being the number 2, I like being the supporter, I never like to be the lead person, and I just always thought that was like, yes, I'm wired. But I think that's an expression of what manifests as a weakness a lot of times, which is like there's this thing in me that is too scared to be bold and confident in just like making a call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of people pleasing in there. That's like, I don't want someone to think that I don't know what I'm doing, or that I'm, like you inexperienced, the things that you were describing. I don't think I've ever struggled with feeling like I need to be successful necessarily. So you said like maybe not everyone struggles with it, or it doesn't hit everyone the same way. I think I probably fall more into that camp.
Yeah.
I just never really thought about needing to be successful because I'm really kind of go with the flow. But that doesn't mean that there's no measure of success in my heart somewhere. Well, mine's like it's not about legacy or lasting or it's about, I think it's about how people perceive me. And I think it's about,
I think there's a healthy level of drive.
Yeah.
That a lot of people share.
Yeah.
That's not aggressive. I think where it becomes a problem is where it becomes the focus. Like I have to make enough money so that I can afford this life.
Yeah.
That's an issue.
Yeah.
I have to make sure my kids are involved in these things or get these scholarships, or you know what I mean? Like I have to do everything I can to do the $10,000 Disney vacation every 2 years. You know what I mean?
That almost feels like it's really bumping up against identity.
Oh, it definitely. Success is identity. Yeah. That's what success is.
And I think that's where I struggle, is because I think a big part of my what I'm wrestling with is that I've never, maybe not never, I have for a long time pushed my own desires and opinions and things just to the back, because one of my core lies that I tell myself is that my opinion doesn't matter. Like that it doesn't, like what I have to say is not as valuable as what everyone else is already saying. So I better just not say anything. Right. Kind of a thing. And so I think like I've just stuffed my own stuff for so long and just gone with the flow for so long that I've kind of lost my identity in that. You know what I mean? Like I've never really taken the time to like dig into like, what do I want though? Like, who am I, Aaron? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's been so tied to everyone else's thoughts and feelings and whatever for so long. And I don't know, it's a weird thing that I'm wrestling through right now.
Yeah.
And I think my success is somewhere in there. It's just like buried under all of everyone else's opinions of, whatever.
So the next time you fail or contribute to a failure, internalize it, see what that does to you.
Yeah.
I'd be curious, because I think so for me, Zach, you've probably noticed this because you and I work together so closely. I get mad at failure.
You do.
You like
you do. I've seen that a couple times.
It just,
in all honesty here. But
it just immediately, like if I fail, or if something that should be functioning properly fails, I just get mad at it.
And you're like, let's just get rid of it and get the new thing. Not that that's a bad thing, but sometimes we have to do that.
Yeah.
But let's just get rid of that and get the thing that's just going to work for us.
Yeah.
And so I think we need that in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But it could drift into like we just need to work on this.
Yeah.
But But that is your response sometimes. I would not say that it's all the time.
No, it's all the time. I'm better at hiding it sometimes. Like I immediately get to like this is ridiculous. Why does nobody else see this? Like, why doesn't anyone notice this? Like, that's always my first thought in whenever failure is a thing, even my own failures.
Yeah.
I think I
default to embarrassment and shame.
Yeah.
If that's if we're talking like there's a category of emotion you tend towards, I think that's where I would tend towards.
Yeah.
And I'll cover it up by like making light of the situation or trying to make it a joke or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that's the negative thing that I trend towards, is being embarrassed and not wanting anyone to see the failure. Yeah.
I think I try to defend. It might be shame, but I think I go into like, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter the state of the situation. If someone thinks it's good or bad, or if someone thinks it's bad, then I would say like, oh, here are the reasons why this happened or something. And so I go in sort of maybe on the defensive, maybe.
Yeah.
And so
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so.
I definitely blame shift, but I think that's more of a symptom and not the core thing. I know I tend to make, we've talked about this before in staff meeting, I tend to make molehills out of mountains.
Yeah.
So I'll take a giant problem and I'll make it seem like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of me trying to cover it up so no one actually looks at it.
Yeah.
Because it's not even a big deal. Like it's nothing really happened
Yeah.
or whatever, you know what I mean? So I think that's like just me being embarrassed of it and trying to like cover it up. I think that's,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's something more core than that, but I think that's where I think it goes.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a thing, you know, and I think it's all part of this conversation. And you know, if success for you, if the motivation of success for somebody is like the being remembered thing, you know, that says a lot. Like that says a lot about what's going on in your mind and in your heart, you know, like, and there's identity, there's perception, there's all of this stuff that's wrapped up in all of this conversation. And what I love is that God is like, you know what, honestly, your success doesn't matter. You know, yeah.
And everything is meaningless from Ecclesiastes is wonderful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And terrible.
And at the same time, there's nothing wrong. Like also, like Solomon doesn't say there's anything wrong with being successful. Like, can I acknowledge? I didn't really say that yesterday. He doesn't really say there's anything wrong with being successful. Some people are going to be successful. Like talent and work ethic are also real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's okay as long as you put those things in the right headspace, in the right priority before God. And that's the thing. He's like, it's good to eat and it's good to drink and it's good to enjoy your toil. Like that's good. You know, like it's, those things are good whenever you recognize where they come from. They're good things. And so, it's the why behind those things that matter. And so that's been, for me, it's been this journey of like this lifelong journey, or career long journey, maybe is the right phrase. It's been this career long journey of putting those things in the proper space. You know, I really struggled. So I started my career at a church of about, I'm going to say 300-ish, 350-ish, something like that, as a youth pastor. And then when I left that church, like God called me to this church of 75, like as a senior minister, you know what I mean? And having grown up in a small town, we moved to this giant city, and then he called me back to this other small town that called it a giant city, but was still a small town, you know? And so it was like this whole mentality for me of like, man, like I'm stepping backwards, like in every way I'm stepping backwards. And it was a real fight, for me to do that. But I think that God used that season for me to, like, I ended up falling in love with the people, and he used that season for me to do some real work in my own heart in regard to my own pursuit of what success really looks like. You know, and that was a thing.
Well, this is definitely like an exploration of the self that never stops. And so hopefully that's what people are hearing today, is that like you're gonna discover some of this stuff through the message, which I just linked there, so you guys can go watch that. You're gonna discover some of that, but try to figure out what your layer of success is, and figure out how that makes your decision making happen. And I think we don't even really know all the facets of that for ourselves, but it's a constant journey. So
absolutely.
Chase that and try to figure out what that is, and then remember that we're found in God's image, and
when
that's our identity.
When you can let go of it and just be his and be content where he's called you, like that's such a thing too. You know, and I want people to be able, like what I wish I knew at 20 is you can really be content wherever God calls you. Like you can really do that, and you can do great work there, and you can enjoy that, and that is like being faithful to where he's called you. That is really, really successful.
Yeah.
So I started reading a book last week, and it doesn't matter what it is, but there was a thing in there that was just talking about like worship being a kind of like the way to move from yourself to God, like less of yourself and more of God. And I wrote that on my board because I was just like, okay, that's notable. Like I need to just write that down so I see it again. And then like right now I'm just realizing, I think that was just a small message to me over this whole weekend of thinking about success, but just like maybe as a worship minister, multiple layers, but as a worship minister, like like taking people who are walking in, maybe thinking about themselves, and how do we shift that to this thing is about God. Like this thing includes us, but it's really not about us. It's about God. And so I kind of walked into Sunday with that on my mind too. So it was kind of that 1-2 punch of the Holy Spirit so I feel like that's just something that's worth sharing.
Yeah.
Because that's what this is, time for that. So
absolutely.
But yeah, we got to move that way. So
sweet. Yeah. Speaking of got to move, guys, we got to go to staff meeting.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us today, and we will see you guys next week.
See you next time.